I thought I'd spend a minute or two talking about a word we've been hearing recently in the media, and that is stagflation. Now, that's not a commonly known term, but if I can just spend a few minutes going through it with you. Stagflation refers to an economy that's experiencing a simultaneous increase in inflation and stagnation of the economic output. It was first recognized back in the 70s, probably existed in the 60s, but they didn't really know what to call it. In fact, it was the term was adopted by a British MP when he was giving a lecture in the House of Commons. So when many developed economies experienced rapid inflation, high unemployment as a result of the oil shock in the 70s led to this stagflation. But quite frankly, economic theory at the time, because I was there, could not easily explain how stagflation could occur. In fact, it was impossible to incur, according to economic theory at the time. However, since the 1970s, rising price levels during periods of slow or negative economic growth have become somewhat of the norm rather than an exceptional situation. So just to give you an example of what stagflation is, it's when a government prints currency, which would increase the money supply and create inflation, whilst raising taxes, which would slow economic growth, resulting in stagflation. Another theory is that confluence of stagflation or stagnation and inflation are results of poorly made economic policy. Harsh regulation of markets, goods, and labor in an otherwise inflationary environment are cited as the possible cause of stagflation. Certainly, that's what happened to Richard Nixon in the 70s in the US, and he created a period of stagflation. So what is the cure for stagflation? There's no definitive cure because in theory it can't exist. However, the consensus among most economists is that productivity has to be increased to the point where it would lead to a higher growth rate without additional inflation. This would then allow for the tightening of monetary policy to rein in the inflationary component of stagflation. Whilst that's the theory, it's obviously a lot easier said than done. So the key is preventing stagflation in the first place. Should be the point of any government's policy when faced with this. So I just thought I'd give you that little introduction to stagflation and how complex it is. And certainly the examples I gave of what causes stagflation ring true when we look at what's happening in New Zealand at the moment. Talking of New Zealand at the moment, don't forget, June 30th is upon us soon. And to get the $521 from the government, you must put $1,043 into your KiwiSaver fund by then for the last 12 months. And that you can consider that a reduction in your taxes because it's free money. And quite frankly, we could do with all of us getting some free money back from this government. I hope that explains everything. Don't forget, $1,043 into your KiwiSaver. Thanks very much for listening. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.